Ready when you are, bro. Welcome to Crosstown Cardboard episode 96. We're calling it all gas, no brakes, because that's not how we drive. That's actually our mindset heading into the National with just a couple weeks left, if you can believe that, Craig. That's at New York City Sports Cards. Craig Shackner, the math teacher, the soccer coach. I think that's the first time I've used your last name.
Yeah.
Making Crosstown Cardboard history here, approaching the century mark, but he's a math teacher and soccer coach in New York City. And I am Carmine at Carmine's Cards, the sports storyteller down here in Greenville, South Carolina, but originally from Ossining, New York. And the New York state of mind is usually all gas, no brakes. So I know most of our listeners are going to resonate with this in their life and in their card collecting. But really, you know, we had our great guest on last week, Scott, and he was talking about the SoCo Expo, the soccer card show after the National in Cleveland. So if you didn't check that one out, definitely take a look or a listen to that one, because his motivation for putting that show together was incredible. And whenever we have a guest, Craig, we love to talk about it. It helps us store up these sports card stories, and we have even more to tell the next week that we come on. So each of us has a few stories. I have pickups from the South Carolina State Card Show. I started 2 new personal collections, as we know them, PCs, and I made a Masters trade, which we'll have to get into. You did something that we're calling fluff and stuff, which you had some great rhyming there. You sold a big lot of some inventory you were, thinking about bringing to the National, and you had an early morning wake-up call for a trade. So we'll get into those stories that we have stored up. But Craig, what do you want to start with to kick us off?
Let's start with the story real quick. The 6:30 a.m. sale.
Okay.
So it was Friday, July 5th. And I don't know if you're aware of all the soccer that's happening right now between the Copa America and the Euros. So big soccer tournaments all happening right now. I'm a teacher. I'm on summer break. So I'm in the middle of a 2-week stretch where I'm not doing a whole lot. So I spend a lot of time. I'll walk around. I'll go to the gym. I'll play soccer. I'll do card stuff. And on this particular Friday, July 5th, Spain happened to be playing Germany, and a friend of mine was at a bar. He said, "Hey, you want to go hang out?" I'm off. Why not? Let's go watch some footy.
Right.
I don't really drink at all. That's just not my style. But on this day, I was having a good time. It was summer. Cheers. And I think I was like 3 rum punches deep before 3 p.m.
Wow. Okay. So you really flipped the script.
I was having a good time. Some good quality football on. So they went from one bar to another, and I said, you know what? Let me stop, because I had to pass by my home on the way home. I said, let me stop. I'll get my dog. I'll bring my dog to the next bar. We'll have a grand old time. I happened to kind of walk past the card store, Alex's MVP, on the Upper East Side on the way to the second bar with my dog. So I'm browsing real quick. I'm like, I'm meeting friends. Let me just pop into the card store, because why not? And I noticed they had on display a Lamine Yamal Topps Finest autograph rookie card. You give me that look, because I assume you have no idea who Lamine Yamal is.
No, but great name.
He is a 16-year-old right winger who plays for your favorite team, Barcelona, and the Spanish national team. Now, imagine this.
I should have known that. I have my Barcelona gear right here.
Imagine this, 16 years old, and you are starting for Spain in the European Championship quarterfinals, and you're starting for Barcelona. Incredible player. Wow. So they had this autograph rookie card up on display. They had a price tag for $200. I very quickly looked up comps. I'm like, oh, they're all doing well over $200 now. $220, $230, $250, because all this hype. Spain's playing really well. He's playing really well. Yeah. So I was able to scoop it up for $180, which I felt like was a good deal. And now prospecting is not my game. You know that. I don't get like the young prospects, but the rum punch, had me thinking a different type of way on that particular day. So I was all excited about my card, and it was cool because he's an unbelievable player if you've ever watched him play. But when I reached out to a couple soccer buddies of mine, just we were talking cards, seeing if they were interested, they both said the same thing. They're like, "Oh, I'm not touching that. Sell it now." They're overproducing his stuff. They make so much modern product, and even though he is a great player, he's going to have just an influx of cards coming in that all this mass-produced stuff's not going to be worth anything. I'm like, well, damn, I guess I got to sell this card then. So put it on eBay. had a bunch of offers. One person in particular offered me, keep in mind, I paid $180 for it. This one person in particular offered me $215. I said, I would accept that. Or if you want to message me on Instagram, you could do that. So we did the old classic connect on eBay, reconnect on Instagram, where we were able to close the deal at $200. And it just so happened this person lives in New Jersey, not that far from me. So he's like, I'll drive into the city and get it. I said, here's a gas station that should save you a little bit of time. He drove. Sunday morning, we met at a gas station on 96 and First Avenue at 6:30 in the morning. I gave him the card. He gave me the cash, and I got out of that prospect card, which I did enjoy having for a couple of days. And you can't make this stuff up. This random person who I connected from eBay to Instagram to a gas station on the Upper East Side also happens to be a math teacher and a soccer coach who's also on summer break right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty crazy coincidence.
I know. So I was the proud owner of the Lamine Yamal autograph rookie card for a total of 2 days. I sold it on Sunday morning at 6:30 when I met someone at a gas station for a grand total profit of $15. So I could tell my future kids, like, man, you don't know how hard we worked hustling out here on a Sunday morning just to make $15.
Right. But, yeah. Instead of getting up early and like going into the coal mines, you're getting up early and taking a short drive to the gas station.
A walk to the gas station.
Oh, a walk. Why did it have to be so early?
That's when I said the earlier the better for me, and he proposed the time. I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no. Let me just get this out of the way now. So that's that. And yeah, that's that story. I thought that was fun.
All right. So the rum punch really gave you some liquid courage to get a little prospecting, and then when you sobered up, you were like, I don't know.
Which I ended up profiting on at the end of the day. So
right. Hey, there you go, 10% profit. That's nothing to sneeze at.
But keep in mind, the player Lamine Yamal, we had just finished watching his game, and the card shop just so happened to have one of his autograph cards, so it kind of worked out well in the moment. But yeah, I'm glad I got out of that prospecting. Not for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had some fun pickups, Craig, at the South Carolina State Card Show the state capital of Columbia, South Carolina. And I had a lot of perseverance to get there. I might tell my grandkids about this story and how hard I worked and how much adversity I overcame, because I was driving my car from Greenville to Columbia on Saturday, and it's about an hour and a half drive. So I'm driving along my 2005 Chrysler 300 all-wheel drive, and all of a sudden it starts smoking. I'm like, oh boy, this isn't good. The car starts smoking. Yeah. Not me. Illegal in South Carolina. Well, different type of smoking. But anyway, so I'm driving along. Car starts smoking. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So I start to get ready to pull over. The sedan is filling up with smoke inside the car. I'm like, oh boy, I got my cards with me, and pull over to the side of the road, and it's billowing up smoke. So I grab my case of cards, run out of the car. I'm like, oh boy, run out. The car quit on me. So make a long story short, I got the car towed back to Greenville. I was about half hour outside of town, and the engine blew. And so they're like, oh, you can repair it for $6,500 or yeah. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty close to the value of the car. So I'm not going to, do that. So pretty much going to the card show, my car was totaled. And thankfully, my dad is a used car dealer among his many other businesses. And so he's driving down to give me a car that he has in his inventory of cars, not cards, to replenish the car that I totaled on the way to the card show. But my perseverance, Craig, I got an Uber from the mechanic to my girlfriend's house to borrow her car to retake the drive to Columbia to go to the card show. And I was way more concerned about going to the card show than what was happening with my car, which ended up being totaled. So yeah, wow, crazy story. That's on
heroic. That is heroic.
Yeah. So anyway, after that situation and my engine blowing in my car, I ended up getting to the South Carolina State Card Show in Columbia, and I picked up these cards, and then I drove, actually not just cards, also master's badges too. And then I drove back to the upstate area and went to a trade night at Boiling Springs Sports Cards. So I went straight from a card show to a trade night, and it was a full day of cards, overcoming the adversity of the car trouble. And so I came home with 5, 10, 15, 19 new items. I started a new PC of South Carolina Gamecocks. I talked about on our podcast here before that I have a Clemson PC, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. And, I cover for work both the Gamecocks and Clemson, South Carolina, and the Tigers. And so I didn't have any South Carolina cards. So being in the state capital of Columbia, where the University of South Carolina is located, I'm like, what better time to start? So I picked up 3 Marcus Lattimore rookie cards. I picked up a Prism rookie autograph. I picked up a Select rookie, and I picked up a Topps Chrome rookie refractor. So all those ran me, I think, $10 total.
Oh,
but yeah. If you know anything about Marcus Lattimore, he had a very short career in the NFL because he had a lot of injuries in college.
Right, I remember.
Yeah, but he was incredible at the University of South Carolina, SEC Freshman of the Year, and he's a local to the upstate here, went to Burns High School, which is like 15 minutes from me, and won 3 state titles out of 4 years as a starting running back. And then hometown hero went to in-state, the Gamecocks.
And cooked
in college. He was awesome in college, and he even helped them pull off an upset over number 1 Alabama when he was at South Carolina. I believe that was his sophomore year. But upsetting the number 1 team in the country, SEC Freshman of the Year, I mean, he was incredible. And I got to interview him for work. Talked for like half an hour, and he's teaching poetry now in Portland to people who are dealing with substance abuse. And he was telling me this whole story about how he's found himself outside of football when growing up from a teenager. That was his whole identity, was just football. He didn't know what else he was interested in. After his career ended due to those injuries, moved out to Portland, found that poetry was something that he loves, and then is now giving back to people overcoming substance abuse. So just having that connection to covering the Gamecocks, speaking with Marcus Lattimore, and his cards being so cheap and him being a hometown hero, I'm like, oh, this is perfect opportunity. So I picked up 3 Marcus Lattimore cards for my PC, start off the Gamecocks. And then I picked up another Gamecocks card, but it's the True National Treasures RPA, rookie patch auto, Sindarius Thornwell.
I was wondering why you got that.
Yeah, so I don't know, our college hoops lovers are going to remember the incredible run that South Carolina made for the NCAA tournament all the way to the Final Four back in 2017.
Damn, that was 2017?
Yeah. And so PJ Dozier, Sindarius Thornwell, a few other guys who had a short stint in the NBA, but he was the main player, Sindarius Thornwell, on that team. And this was a $20 card for the National Treasures RPA. True RPA, they call it, numbered out of 99. So
true.
Really, really cool. And just the fact that I got to cover this past year of Gamecocks basketball, which was the last time they made the NCAA tournament since that Final Four team in 2017 that Sindarius Thornwell was on. So I'm like, man, that's cool. I mean, and you can get some of these PC cards, as a lot of our viewers and listeners know, so cheap, like something that has such a strong connection to you, like this Marcus Lattimore and Sindarius Thornwell, and it's pennies on the dollar compared to like Larry Bird or, Kylian Mbappe or people who are really household names. So those were a couple of the highlights I wanted to point out of a new PC I started from going to the South Carolina State Card Show.
Love it. Going to a card show, just like riding a bike at this point. You walk in, and once you're in the mix, business as usual.
Yeah.
Good.
But sometimes it is overwhelming, like to try to find cards that are reasonably priced and that you like. You know, you have to talk to people. I mean, it's still a challenge. It's a fun, I mean, that's part of why I think we love it too. It's part of a fun challenge and a treasure hunt. And then the negotiation starts. Yeah.
I know. I can't wait for National just for that reason, just to walk around and just see new inventory, meet new people. Like I'm setting up at the, the Bleecker does their Sunday showcase spectacular. They're doing a 2-day this upcoming weekend. Saturday and Sunday. I'm setting up on the Saturday from 12 to 7, which I can't wait for, because in that setting, I like being behind the table, because I'm going to see how much of my inventory I can turn into National assets or cash. Yeah, so we'll see what happens from that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to see what you can do. I want to show you a couple other cool pickups. So I did do a little bit of the prospecting-ish.
Okay.
That what was that guy's name again? The soccer player?
Lamine, Lamine.
Yeah.
Yamal, Yamal.
Lamine Yamal. That just really rolls up.
Incredible player. And he's 16. He's
16 years old.
Strong on the ball, very, very fluid on the ball, plays like a real winger. I did some additional prospecting too. So you tell me about yours first, and then I'll tell you about mine, which is related to the fluff and stuff.
Okay, great. So actually, two of the prospects that I picked up ish, I mean, they're good, but they're not, where they could be. I picked up this Chet Holmgren select rookie auto tie-dye. We love the tie-dye, numbered out of 25 in a PSA 9. And I traded a Trevor Lawrence exquisite auto rookie for that. Plus I added $100 cash on top. And so it was risky because the Trevor Lawrence exquisite rookie auto, there was an auction on eBay selling at the same time as I made this trade with the guy at the Boiling Springs sports card trade night. And thankfully I got out of it because it sold for like $125 less than the last comp. So the guy texted me when the auction ended. He texted me saying, "Ouch." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." I'm like, "Sorry,
that's
bro.
on you. That's on you. That's on you, man. Sorry."
Yeah, no, we both knew the risk that we were taking at the time.
He knew there was an auction off?
Yeah. Okay. We talked about it.
All right.
So it was understood, and it was just part of the risk that each of us was taking because it could have easily sold for more. And I actually got out of that card and cashed out with my buddy Jack B. Nimble cards, Grants Pass, Oregon's finest. So I traded him that along with a Joe Montana flawless autograph for some Joe Burrow cheap rookies and $400 cash. So got some cash out of it, probably similar to what you did gearing up for the National. And then I got this Justin Herbert rated rookie auto bronze. This is Donruss, not optic. So it's not the metallic version. But this was about a $250 card. And I got this Herbert rookie auto in a trade. I traded away. Remember that Russell Westbrook 1-of-1 game used Adidas patch that I had? So this guy who I met at the Boiling Springs trade night was a huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan, loved Russell Westbrook. And the game used the game. What's that?
What's his name? You might like the two Westbrooks that I just got back.
I don't remember his name. I followed him on Instagram. I'll have to connect you. But he loved Russell Westbrook, and the 1-of-1 Adidas laundry tag from National Treasures was also from Westbrook's MVP year with the Thunder. So it was like a perfect collector's item for this guy. So he traded me the Justin Herbert plus 400 cash, which I held firm at 400, even though he's trying to get me down a little bit. But I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to want this. And I think the Westbrook is worth more. So I kind of just held. Once he went to the car to get his wallet, I was like, I know he's serious about getting this card. So I'm like,
it's so much easier to do these deals in person than it is online.
It is. So I'm like, let me hold firm because, and a lot of people have done that for me where they know I really want a card, and I think it works, both ways, just part of the negotiation. And I was into the Westbrook for $375, so I got 400 cash plus the Herbert, which last sold for $240. So I was into the Herbert for negative 25. Negative $25 was what I was into the Herbert, and then I sold the Herbert for about 200 205. So it was like 85% of comps. And I moved it to a friend. And now I'm up $225, $230 from a couple moves. So I've been loving doing the one-of-one purchasing or the rare cards with no comps, which I know we've talked about before, but just such a potential for a real big profit with those, as long as you like them and you're okay holding them for a while. Because I had that Westbrook for a couple months, but the right person comes along, it's a collector's item, and all of a sudden you make a big profit. So that was a couple cool moves coming from that night of the trade night.
And you mentioned moving the Herbert to a friend. It's nice being able to move a card to a friend where you're into it for a good price, so you can give it to them for a good price, and everybody wins. So nice work on finding that one-of-one at a reasonable price. Look at you. Yeah, you just shaking your head. You're like, yep, I did that. I'm him.
And I wouldn't quite say that, but I did feel good about it.
No, that's good stuff. Congrats. That feels good to have extra cash in the pocket.
Yes.
What was I going to say next? So when I hear consolidating in this hobby, in my head, I think of consolidating into a PC card, right? You take a larger quantity of cards into maybe 1 or 2 or 3 cards. I wouldn't say this is quite that, because I didn't consolidate into anything I really wanted, but I was able to take a bunch of fluff, maybe let's just say 50 plus cards of fluff, and consolidate it into a few different things, aka stuff. So we call this the fluff and stuff.
That should be like a move, like a sports card trade move, the fluff and stuff.
The fluff and stuff. Taking a bunch of lower quality, higher quantity stuff that you're into for a decent price, but things that might be tough for me to move, because maybe it's a lot of like $1 to $5 or these more obscure $10 to $20 cards. Fluff that was just taking a room in my inventory and consolidating it into what I would call better stuff.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that.
But with the preparation that goes into it, which I talked about when I went to Santiago shop, I talked about it when I went to the Denver shop. Same idea. I went to the Hot Corner in Brooklyn, which is behind Bleecker, probably my second favorite shop in the city. It's just a hike for me to get there. But if you're anywhere near, like all the way down in Brooklyn, definitely worth the spot, worth the trip. That's the Hot Corner.
How far is it? How far is it for you?
Door to door via train, it probably ends up being like an hour 15.
Okay. Each way?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's dedication.
But, a couple weeks ago, I was off for summer, so this is what I could do. I'm working soccer camps the next few weeks, but until then, I have a little time. So I'll show you what I mean by stuff. I think these are fun cards that I'm much more likely to be able to move or trade at the Bleecker event or even at National. Always starting off with some nice chunky patches. These came from Upper Deck SPX and Upper Deck Premier Baseball from 2008. Jason Giambi patch, just because I am going to be right at the Bleecker event. So a nice chunky game-worn Yankees patch. And Johan Santana. I mean, he was a stud pitcher. It was the nostalgia of the set for me.
Yeah.
So a couple chunky patches. And 1999 Topps Chrome Jerry Rice refractor in a PSA 8.
That's cool.
We often talk about cool to cost ratio here. This has a value of around $75. So awesome card.
Yeah, 90s refractor. Yeah, that's great.
And then the prospecting game. Very unlike me. I kind of thought about you.
You might have had some more rum punch.
No, there was no rum punch flowing this time around. But sometimes shops might not have all the types of cards you like. So I don't want to say like you got to settle, but you got to more so just make the most of your situation. So whatever new stuff I was going to come home with, it had to fit what I thought was appropriate pricing and the types of cards I think will attract interest at shows. So this was different for me, but this came from Topps Chrome McDonald's All-American game. So not really rookie autographs, but kind of rookie autographs of 2 new NBA draft picks. This was the 16th pick to the 76ers, Jared McCain, a McDonald's Topps Chrome autograph. And that is the yellow numbered out of 75. And the one I was most excited about, the 3rd overall pick to the Rockets, a Reed Shepherd Topps Chrome McDonald's rookie autograph numbered out of 75. 75?
Yeah.
99.
No, so that's better. I'd rather have 99.
Well, Yeah, I remember you've mentioned that before. But yeah, so once again, I go to a show. So I go to a shop. I have everything priced out. I kind of find that nice equidistant number between what are these cards that I'm trying to trade in valued at, and what am I into them for? And if we could find that nice balance where I'm trading cards into a shop at, let's just say, 80% comps, but maybe I'm into the cards for 65% comps.
Right.
That's the way that we both win. So that's what I was able to do. I was able to take a big stack and kind of just turn it into this, and that's how we reshuffle, and that's how we execute a fluff and stuff.
Yeah, that's your classic fluff and stuff right there.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so felt good about that.
That's great. And also, it'll be nice to have those for the national too, because Jared McCain and Reed Shepherd, like you said, two first round draft picks, especially Reed Shepherd. But Jared McCain has an interesting thing going for himself. Both of them from blue blood programs. Reed Shepherd, Kentucky, Jared McCain, Duke, and plus, interesting. I don't know if you know this about Jared McCain. He paints his nails.
Oh, I'm well aware. Yeah, the TikToks and all that good stuff.
Reed Shepherd. Yeah, so he's got a pop culture kind of deal to him too. And Reed Shepherd skyrocketed up the draft boards with above 50% from 3-point range this year. I mean, he could be, but if you sell him before the NBA season, they're all great. They're all great. So
good history of Kentucky guards too. And a thing to consider, especially right now, going to national, I would think there's going to be at least somebody, if not at least a table from Houston. So if I find the table from maybe some card shop or dealer who lives in Houston is being set up, wouldn't you think they might want to Reed Shepherd to bring back home with them? So that's just something that's in the back of my mind.
I think you'll have no problem moving those with the young draft picks, and plus they don't have any pro cards yet, so it's perfect time to get that stuff.
Yeah. So,
and the Jerry Rice, that's gonna be easy trade bait. Yeah. Nice, bro. Good point about the consolidation. It doesn't always have to be into a PC card. It could be consolidating your inventory to make them easier to move.
Yeah, sometimes you make a move in order to make the next move, in order to make the next move that will lead to a PC card. There's levels to this.
And that led perfectly into what I did. And I want to get your thoughts on this because I mentioned the Masters badges that I picked up from the South Carolina State Card Show. This guy who I met, he had a table set up and he had 2 Masters badges hidden in the corner of his showcase. Not a lot of interest. They were kind of tucked away. So I was talking to him for a while. And he has this incredible Masters and golf collection. And he has Masters flags signed by every single Masters winner from 1999 through 2023. So almost 25 straight years of the Masters winners, autograph flags. Tiger Woods has a bunch of Tiger Woods ones, obviously. And, every Master, Jordan Spieth and all the guys who have won in that time frame. So I was talking to him, and he had the 2 best Masters badges, and I've been off the ticket train for a little while. I've been, mainly focusing on cards, but I've always had the Masters badges in my mind. And I said, which Masters badges would I want the most, which is your ticket for entry to the Masters? I said, Tiger Woods' first Masters in 1997 when he burst on the scene, and Tiger Woods' last Masters, 2019, when, he's coming back from all the scandal, the controversy, the injuries. I think it was like 10 years since his last major before that. And
10 years.
Just an incredible, we all remember probably where we were, even if you're not a golf fan, when Tiger won that 2019 Masters in improbable comeback fashion in life and in golf. So those were the 2 Masters badges that he had in his case. So
first and last.
First and last. And also, not only is it his first and last Masters, but it's his first and last major as well. So even more coolness and historical significance to, that Masters. So I'm like, all right, so I got to make a deal for these. I said, this makes the trip worth it. My car just exploded on me. I went back to Greenville. Went back to Columbia. I said, now's the time. I said, I knew I was meant to be here. I was meant for this moment. It's a Masters moment. So I was like, the only thing better would be if Jim Nantz was announcing this transaction, but you can't get everything you want. So I end up striking a deal with this guy, and I traded. Do you remember that card that I got at Burbank? It's now a couple years ago, early on in the Crosstown Cardboard days. And I guess it's more like a year and a half ago. It was the quad game used, or I guess match used jersey card of Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Justin Thomas with the cool different materials. So he really liked that card that I had. That was really the only he liked.
You Jim still Brown. That?
I still had that quad jersey card.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I still had that because that was like a PC card. That was like one of my cooler golf cards. But I said, you know what? Let me bring it just in case. So he accepted that card at a $250 value, which was fair. And I added $700 cash. And I got those 2 Masters badges, the 2019 Masters badge, which I have here in a PSA 8. And I also got the 1997 Masters badge, which was in a PSA Authentic. He also tossed in 4 other Masters badges that he had from, let me see what years these were, just to kind of sweeten the deal, because I was taking a little bit to consider, because I'm like, $700, that's a lot of money for me to fork over. And he threw in the 1983 Masters, 1979, Fuzzy Zeller winning that one, 1996, Nick Faldo winning, and he threw in one more, I thought, too. Oh, yeah.
They're all labeled? They're all labeled accordingly?
Ben Crenshaw. And, yeah, they're all labeled. Okay, they're all labeled with the year. Here, I'll show you. This will be a clearer picture of what it looks like. Seve Ballesteros won the other one.
Sure.
And a lot of those, so like the other Masters badges were between like $40 and $70. So I thought to myself, I could try to collect all the Masters badges every single year. That might be a fun chase. You know, although some of them are going to be expensive, like Jack Nicklaus's final Masters in 1986. That's going to be a big one. And, you know, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer's first and last ones. And it goes all the way back to the 30s, I believe, is when the Masters started. So it's like, you know, 95 Masters badges I think you could go after. But that could be a fun run to go after. I mean, I'm just starting. I have 6 of them now.
I'm sure it would be.
Yeah. It would be probably expensive.
Tall
task. But it could be like a long chase, you know, not like something that you're trying to finish right away. So I got I was very excited to get the first and last Tiger Woods majors and Masters. And in a PSA 8, surprisingly low pop for the 2019 Tiger Woods last Masters, last major. In a PSA 8, it's a pop 31 with only 15 higher. So 46 of them in this grade or better.
That's there. 97.
No, this is 2019. His last.
So what's the 97 pop report?
I'm really glad you asked. So in a PSA Authentic, the 1997 has a population of 104.
Okay.
In a PSA Authentic, with 160 graded higher.
Okay.
So 264 graded total in the pop report from Authentic to a 10. So here's where the story takes an interesting twist, Craig. I posted that. I posted all my inventory, like this photo, on my Instagram at Carmine's Cards, if you choose to follow. And yeah, if you haven't already from listening to Crosstown Cardboard, almost 100 episodes. So somebody messaged me and they said, hey, I've been looking for a 1997 Masters badge. Are you selling, or what would you be asking? And these are going between 400 to 600 in a PSA Authentic.
Okay.
So I said, you know, to be honest, I think the last one, and some of them in raw condition sell for more because, you know, people think, well, I could get a 9 or I could get a 10.
Sure.
So sometimes the raw condition sells for a little bit more, as people know with the new rookies coming out. So I said, you know, I'm asking $675 because I want this for my PC. You know, this is like a rare find for me and something that I've been looking after. So the guy said, well, he screenshotted me a story of this person who had a PSA 9 for sale. And he said, this person's asking $750 on their PSA 9. So would you have any room? I said, maybe. I'm open to your offer. So a couple days passes. I don't hear back from the guy. So I'm like, I got an idea. So I'm like, oh, okay. This guy has a PSA 9 for $750. That seems like a reasonable price. So I messaged the guy who had the PSA 9, 1997 Masters badge, because the other guy didn't get back to me. So I'm like, all right, well, either one of two things is the case. He got the PSA 9 from the other guy, he ghosted me on my PSA Authentic, or he just gave up his search. So I said, let me reach out to the guy who had the PSA 9, see what happens. So I reached out to the guy who had the PSA 9 of the 1997 Masters badge. I said, hey, do you still have this? I have a PSA Authentic of the same badge. I'm wondering if I could maybe trade you, add some cash, and see what happens. So he said, yeah, I still have it. So I said, oh my gosh, it's perfect. I can immediately upgrade from, I thought getting an Authentic was a rare find. Now I could have a PSA 9. So we end up negotiating, and I got the PSA 9
No way.
from that guy, along with this really cool Sport Kings Kevin Durant full letter game used patch from his rookie year with the Seattle Supersonics.
Wow, that is cool.
9.5. Yeah, 1 of 1. But it's Sport Kings, so a lot of people, undervalue it, I think.
Sport Kings not bad. What is that, from like 2011?
It's 2013, and it was a redemption card from the 34th National Card Show. So I'm thinking this might be perfect. Yeah. Well, so I traded him my PSA Authentic 1997 Masters badge. Plus, what did I add? I added 600 cash plus my 1997 Masters badge in an authentic grade for his PSA 9 Masters badge and the Kevin Durant.
I feel like you made out well there.
Yeah, so we basically said it's 400 for the Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Full S in a BGS 9.5, 1 of 1 game used letter. And then pretty much I added 200 cash on top of my PSA Authentic 1997 Masters badge for his PSA 9 1997 Masters badge. So if you look at the pop report, as I mentioned, there's 264 1997 Masters badges in a PSA Authentic or better. When you get to a PSA 9, there's a pop 64, but there's only 5 in a PSA 10 in existence. So I'm thinking to myself, a PSA 10 is almost an impossible find. And if I find one at the National, I try to go after it. It'd probably be 5 figures. You have to figure. I mean, I don't even know what you would ask for it. If there's only 5 out there of one of the most significant Masters badges of Tiger, who is the most popular golfer of all time, at least among people right now. So I'm like, let me get the best Masters badge I can get. Pop 64, but they rarely come up. That's another factor to consider too.
It's not going to grow too much.
It's not going to grow. And the pop report's one thing, but how often they surface for sale is another.
Sure.
So one recently sold for $625 in a PSA 9, which seemed like a very low sale, because all the other ones before that are like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. So I said, this is a great time to get into this after a low sale, and I can trade and improve on my PSA Authentic. So it was funny, though, because the guy who tipped me off to the screenshot of the other guy selling the PSA 9, and I gave him a chance to make me an offer on my Authentic, but after a couple days, I was like, let me reach out to this guy. This other guy ghosted me, so let me see if I can make a deal for that PSA 9, and ended up working out. Plus, I got a cool Kevin Durant, and now I have much better grades of Tiger's first and last major and Masters badges. So it's kind of a crazy twist of fate right there.
You upgraded that pretty impressively quick there.
Yeah. So I'm excited because with only 5 in a PSA 10, I mean, getting a 9 is very good in a 25-year-old Masters badge.
Wow, so you're a badge guy now.
I'm a badge boy.
Badge boy. Okay.
That's right.
You know how I have that Knicks Bernard King, Walt Frazier dual patch autograph that I love so much that I had 4 copies of it?
I do know that. You have mentioned that.
Yeah, well, I found another Knicks card that I loved so much that I needed multiple copies of it. Do you know this one? Did you see this one, the quad patch?
Okay. Yeah, I did see that.
Okay,
That's
all
a
right.
very you posted it in the Knicks group chat. That's really cool.
So that's from 2008 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection, which is one of just the greatest sets ever made. New York Knicks legends: Earl the Pearl Monroe, Bernard King, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, quad game worn patch auto numbered out of 10, and there is a lot of chunk and color up in those cards right there.
Yeah, chunky patches.
So our buddy Koopy Cards posted something on his Instagram story along the lines of, I just smashed buy it now on this card on eBay. Sometimes when you see such a cool, unique card, you don't even have to question it. You just buy it. So I'm like, oh, cool. I wonder what it is. So I click on his next story, and boom, it's one of those cards. I'm like, damn, did he get a steal on this Knicks quad patch autograph? I am jealous.
No autos, right? No autos.
No autos, just patches. Just game worn patches. Okay. Numbered out of 10, though. So I'm like, damn, that's a nice card. I want that. I wonder what he paid for it. So I go to search it up on eBay, and I'm like,
yeah,
there's one still available. Oh, the seller posted 2 of them. A card numbered out of 10. The seller happened to post both of them. So,
wow.
Koopy had already smashed buy it now on his. There was a second one available, so I followed him and I smashed buy it now. So I had one of the copies. Koopy had one of the copies. I let him know, but I told him anyway. I'm like, I understand that I have one now, but I'm still going to make a play for yours, and I know exactly what you paid for it because I paid the same thing. So I'm gonna make you an offer that you can't refuse. It came out. They each came out shipped to like $96.
Yeah,
criminally underpriced. I felt like the buy it now price was like 85 or something, tax, shipping, whatever. So each paid 95 for it. So the trade proposal I ended up giving him was, remember the David Ortiz Topps Transcendent patch autograph that I showed you a couple weeks ago that I picked up for Bleecker?
Yeah, that was what was that valued at 175?
Very good, 175, but I was into it for 75.
Right.
So I said to him, I will send you this David Ortiz and I'll throw you $50 cash on top. I'm giving you $225 value for a card that I know you paid 96 for. And he accepted.
Wow.
He accepted because, like, how could you not?
Why did you didn't need, I don't think you needed to add any cash on top. You were already giving him almost a twice as valuable card.
It was a card that I know he really liked. And I don't think that I don't think he would have liked David Ortiz enough because this next one is pretty unique. And again, when it's a PC card, you go for it. You do what you got to do. So I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. I wasn't into it for that much now because now I'm into it for what, 125. So I'm more or less into those 2 cards together for like 200, easy, no brainer. Now I need to find the other 8. I have 20%.
Is that what you say? Is that what you're saying about the Walt Frazier and the Bernard King dual patch auto? You're like, I need to find the other 20. What is it? 21 you have left to discover?
One of them's on eBay, but the guy is asking too much. But point is, I love the card. I wanted both copies. I love patches, and I think what's cool about patches is even though the card's the same, they're so different because every chunky patch is unique in its own way, or every swatch of the patch is unique in its own way.
That's a great point too. I never thought of that.
So in the midst of all this flipping and buying and fluff and stuff, there is a joy to continuing to try to pick up Knicks personal collection cards, and I'm not moving those patches. You're never going to find those again. It's a perfect card.
That's a sick. Can you pull that quad patch up again? Willis Reed, Bernard King, Walt Frazier, and who's the last guy?
Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Oh, classic Knicks legends. Wow.
Numbered out of 10. This is 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. Beauties.
Oh, and they're back-to-back numbers. That's great.
So
wow, really bro. Good for you. Good for you. Your Knicks PC is really on point.
Yeah, it's looking good. I've been doing a little bit consolidating with that as well. Like, here's an example. This is a card I actually took out of my Knicks PC to put in inventory when I go to Bleecker. I'm like second guessing it. Check it out. Larry Johnson on-card autograph.
Oh, I actually like that. What is that valued at? I don't think I have a Larry Johnson autograph in my Knicks PC.
I think it's like 30 to 35. But my thought was I have that really nice Larry Johnson from National last year. The flawless, horizontal, dual patch on-card autograph. So my thought was, like, I love Larry Johnson. Do I need both?
No.
You know, if especially something numbered out of 199, I don't know. I kind of feel like with Knicks cards, I've set the bar real high for myself that if I'm going to keep something, it's got to be special and unique. And although I love Larry Johnson and it is an on-card autograph, if I could sell it, maybe another Knicks fan can enjoy it. Why not? I don't really think I would miss this one, even though it is
absolutely
nice
not.
Signature.
When you have such a high level Larry Johnson, you definitely don't need that one.
Yeah. So that's why I moved a bunch of Knicks cards over to inventory, just because it didn't hit that wow factor for me.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is that it, bro? You have anything else?
I mean, I do have one deal lined up. I sold these 4 cards to a buddy of mine. Soccer card. This is that player from Turkey. The Mike Bibby Gold Refractor.
Okay.
From 06 Topps Finest PSA 10. The 2019 Topps Finest Lionel Messi Gold Refractor PSA 10.
Oh.
And the Jalen Brunson 2022 Optic Black Velocity PSA 10, which you did call. We were talking about Brunson cards, and I was saying which ones were PC, and you're like, I have a feeling that's one of the ones that might, you might eventually move on from, and you were right. So I got I got $780 for this lot, dude. There's Nationals in 2 weeks. If I could free up almost $800 of cash, I am going to do that.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, so basically, we're both kind of on I've been freeing up cash quite a bit. I mentioned the Facebook and Instagram sales, and I know I added 600 in the deal of getting the PSA 9 1997 Masters badge and the Kevin Durant 1/1 S patch in a BGS 9.5. But I also recouped 400 of cash in the different trade for sending off the Chet Holmgren and the Joe Montana and getting back some of the Joe Burrows. So I have quite a bit of cash to play with. This is the most cash I've had in a while. So, and we're definitely going to talk more about our national strategy, which I know mine is quite a bit different than last year's with getting into tickets and Masters badges and stuff like that compared to last year. So interested to get into those discussions in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
We only have a couple more episodes before the national.
Yeah, right. So that's the plan. We'll record 97. We'll record 98. 98 will come out Wednesday morning. So then later that week, I'll see you in Cleveland. And I think in Cleveland, we'll record 99 and we'll record big 100. 100 straight, bro. 100 straight.
Yeah, that's great. And perfect timing. Perfect timing to do it at the national, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right, bro. Another couple weeks of hobbying in the books.
Yeah. And then we're coming right down, all gas and no brakes until the national.
Hell yes. I will see you next week.
All right, bro.
Peace.